Hi, this is Melissa James with Core Realty. I'm here with Alex Rodriguez with HomeFirst Mortgage Bankers. And today we're going to talk about some frequently asked questions that come about when someone is looking to purchase a home. So the most common question that I get asked from potential buyers or first-time home buyers is, how much do I need to purchase a home? And, go into detail about that.
Will do. Well, thank you. Hi, everybody. First things first, the number one thing clients should do before they come asking that question to you is speak with a lender. Ideally, it'd be great if they spoke with me, but they need to get in front of any lender to kind of give them a breakdown and the ins and outs of the qualifying. There is no set dollar figure when it comes to minimum down payment. We work on percentages, a small amount of what is needed for a down payment depending on what your client is going to qualify for. So it's not a set amount. It could be anywhere as low as $15,000 up into the tens of thousands of dollar range, depending on how much of a home they can afford.
Okay, fantastic. So once they speak with the lender and you guys go over those things, what are some of the main factors that affect what they can get approved for?
Of course. Usually we break it down to clients by way of referring to the things that are needed to qualify as pillars. There's no cheat sheet, there's no easy way to go about qualifying or just you do a certain thing and you're good. You have to have all your ducks in a row, so to speak. Mm-hmm. The tenets or the pillars, as we call them, include the client's income, mm-hmm. work history and how much they're making. Their credit, which is your FICO score and how much monthly debt you have. Your capacity to purchase, which is how much money you need, your assets, and collateral, the property that you're going to be looking at to buy. The big ones that really we focus on at the beginning that kind of set the tone for everything else are income and credit.
Okay.
When it comes to income, again, we look at how much money they're earning, and from that income, we can determine what their maximum monthly payment is. Not what they want to use, by the way. Remember, your maximum is not what you have to use, it's just our range. And we work with the client on what their comfort zone is from there.
Okay.
But we do income, and from the income, we determine that maximum monthly payment, and we kind of work backwards from there, using that number to determine their actual qualifying amount.
Okay. Perfect. So that's very helpful. So let's talk a little bit about the DTI, mm-hmm. debt to income ratio, because yes. A lot of people aren't aware of that, and that's something that I go into a little bit with my clients, but I always tell them to refer to their lender to get more details. So if you can go into a little bit more specifics of that.
Of course. Debt to income ratio is basically the lever, or kind of like the scale between how much monthly income your client is making versus how much debt they can carry based on how much income they're making. So the DTI ratio is kind of like a standard guide that the banks have put in place to ensure that we're not overreaching, or that our clients aren't overreaching. We're giving them off, having them bite off more than they can chew, so to speak. The ratio is determined by, again, calculating how much income the client is making monthly, and a percentage of that monthly income can be allotted for their monthly payment and all their current debt. This is the monthly payment that they're going to make on their mortgage, but also includes all credit card or credit related debt that'll pop up on a credit report. This includes student loans, auto loans, personal loans, all types of loans, credit cards, basically anything that they've applied for that gives them some type of credit in return.
Okay.
And we go off of their minimum monthly payments, add that to that month, to their monthly payment for their mortgage, and that's how we arrive at that ratio.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I hope that helps you guys understand that a little bit better. One of the other topics is everyone asks about the down payment, but people aren't aware that there are additional fees that come with purchasing a home, and those fees are referred to as closing costs. Would you elaborate a little bit more as to what closing costs include, and on average, what the cost would be?
Of course. Every lender has their set schedule, and these closing costs, to start off, are not all closing costs. How we, kind of break it down to a client is roughly about half of what these closing costs are are true costs, meaning money that you're paying for a service, whether it be to the bank, for the lender, to escrow and title for their work, and what have you. The other half, roughly, is what we call the prepaids or the reserves. More often than not, clients are going to want their property taxes and their homeowner's insurance included in their monthly payment. And in order for us to make sure that as soon as they purchase that property, they're off and running, so to speak, that they're not automatically behind on making sure on those taxes and that insurance. So part of it is fees, is closing costs. The other half are called reserves, and all we're doing is taking some of the client's money and parking it in an account for them, just kind of jump-starting that impound account that's going to get fed with every mortgage payment that they make.
Okay.
So again, half of it is fees, roughly, where those are fees that kind of or go up in the air. But the other half is money used for them to help pay for their taxes and insurance.
And roughly, what is the percentage of the closing costs?
Percentage-wise, again, every lender's a little different. Everyone's got a little bit different fees. But on average, we would say anywhere in the ballpark of probably 3 to 4%.
Okay.
If that. Again, it might be a little bit lower, it might be a little bit higher. Don't quote me on it. Get a quote first.
And that's in addition to your down payment, whether that be 3.5% to 20%. You would add on the additional 4 or 5% for your closing costs.
That is correct, yes. So when you're talking down payment, that is strictly the money that you need to get into your home, but you do have to take into account closing costs on top of that.
Okay, so what would you think, or what would you recommend as the first step a buyer should do when they're ready to purchase a home?
As mentioned before, step number 1, talk to a lender. And most importantly, talk to a lender and ask a lot of questions. I'm talking to first-time home buyers, you know very well, they have a million questions and they need to unload these on their lender. A lender worth their salt is going to be there to respond to those questions, prep them, get them ready for you, so that way when the realtor comes in, you're off to the races and showing them homes. And
myself as a realtor, once we meet, if you do meet with me first, I do ask you certain questions and then I do refer you to a lender if you haven't already chosen one to help guide you through the path in more detail.
Yes, but always rule number 1, talk to a lender so you know where you stand. So
your lender provides your purchasing power, so that's the person who's giving you the money, so you want to be best friends with that person.
Best friends with all of us, best friends with all of us, but yes, just start with the lender so you know what you're getting into.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.